G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today we are on the classic map, Hill and Dale, to watch two Conqueror 3 players face off on this classic map. I tell you what, I love this map. This map goes back all the way to like the days of the beta. It used to be a bit different back then. I remember you used to spawn in with a large gold vein in your base in addition to this gold vein here. They've taken that away. It used to be very defensive, this map. It still is quite defensive, but anyway, a little bit less so. Anyway, let's introduce our players for today. Spawning in the southeast side of the map in the color blue, playing as the Juicy Legacy, it's Dennis Kya. And on the northwest side of the map in the color green, playing as the Abbasid Dynasty, it's Antoxa. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hill and Dale. A pleasure to have your company here today on this casted game. I tell you what, this is another casted game, and this one's coming to you back to back after yesterday's casted game. That's a good sign, isn't it? We've got a second casted game coming for you within 2 days. I'm sure there'll be many custard enjoyers that are out there rejoicing. But look, I'm looking forward to seeing how this game goes, because we got the Juicy Legacy here. And one of the things that I've always loved with this civilization is, well, being a little bit greedy. This civilization particularly excels on this map, and that is because you can get away with greed. Even though we do have that gold vein that is no longer existent up here on this hill, on this plateau. Normally, I think if I remember correctly, it was actually the large gold vein that would spawn the closest to the TC, and then you get like the minor gold vein that was a little bit further away. But despite that, you've still got a really defensive map, right? If we look here, you've got 50 woods worth of walls here, 50 woods worth of walls here, and a little bit of a wall towards the front. And Bob's your uncle, that's it. You're set for the rest of the game, and of course both players know that. So I'm not going to be surprised today if we see them camping, if we see them preparing for the Castle Age, maybe even the Imperial Age. That's what I'm going to be gunning towards, but anyway, we'll see how we go. And of course, we'll check in with how these players are doing. Now, a couple of other things. I don't think I've casted an Abbasid game in quite a while, and I just love the fact that on the UI, I can now see this. I don't actually have to go in and check and then hover over this to see the structure count. I can just see it on the UI. So, look, it's been a while since we've casted an Abbasid game. And I think, to be honest, they're probably, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily a rare civilization. It's just that they're uncommon. They don't quite get the purple status. They're a blue. That's an MMO reference. I mean, I'm sure there's other games that utilize that or other systems that utilize that, but I remember playing MMOs. What was it? You had like white was your common, green was your uncommon, blue was your rare, purple was like your arcane. I'm thinking back to Arcade. Anyway, we got ourselves a nice little meditation gardens in the middle. Have a look at this one as well. This is quite nice. It's picking up the double gold here and the stone and a whole bunch of berries as well. Now, of course, on Hill and Dale, you do actually get an extra berry patch. So if you do roll the dice, you can get a nice little spawn for them, but that hasn't been the case here today. So Dennis is going to opt for this central meditation garden. So this will be quite a nice one that he'll be able to bring in. Meanwhile, on the other side, an interesting decision coming through from Antoxa, and that's going to be the trade wing is coming out for him. Now, of course, trade is quite favorable on this map. If you can get a market down in this corner here, you can very easily wall yourself in, wall towards the front. By the way, can we talk about the walls, the difference between walls? Because one of these bases is not like the other. We talked earlier about the wall across here, the wall across the back, and then the wall across the front, and looking at how big it's going to be. Compare that to the opponent's base over here, where we've got Antoxa, who's got the wall at the back, wall at the side, and then look at this bad boy. A little wall here, tiny little wall there, another wall over there, and Bob's your uncle. Look at that. You've got yourself a beautiful defensive base. So, look, Antoxa's in a really good position with an ability to wall like that. So we're going to have to see how he plays this out. Now, of course, with regard to the trade wing, he's going to have access to a whole bunch of unique technologies no one else has got available to him, or rather, no one else has got available to them. So the first one that we've got coming up, armored caravans. Probably not going to be coming out too early here. We can see that already we've got the trade caravans making their way out here. And these bad boys are very quick. These are, now that I think about it, this is probably my head is coming back to all of the patch notes. It's like, hold on, it's been so long that we haven't casted an Abbasid game that we actually haven't seen trade caravans in before. So if I remember correctly, the trade caravan is a faster trader, but as a consequence of being faster, it also has less gold in it. So technically it would work out to be roughly about the same as what a normal trader would be, but they're obviously a lot less susceptible to damage, which is very cool. So the trade caravan's coming out, so we can see this has also got camel unease on it, and there doesn't seem to be any other primary differences between them. So look, we're somewhat learning here as well, and I'm keen to see exactly how this goes, because the 3 armor's kind of negligible, especially when you're running this fast. What's the biggest problem that you're going to have with these bad boys? Realistically, horsemen, I think, would make the most sense. Also, if like a whole bunch of Zhugennu just park themselves on the trade post, like, good luck. You're not going to be having a good time there. But behind the scenes, take a look at this. We've got ourselves an archery range and a racks coming up now for Antoxa. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we do have the Jiangnan Tower coming in. So there will be a Song Dynasty coming through shortly for Dennis Kia. Now, keep in mind, Song Dynasty does change depending on your civilization, whether you're playing the Chinese, whether you're playing the Jussi Legacy. So here he's going to be looking to have more affordable buildings. So he should be able to actually drop off. How many TCs are you thinking about going for, Dennis? Because you've got more than enough stone at this stage. If we take a look here, is there any way that... I don't think there's a way for us to track Song Dynasty, which kind of sucks. Yeah, I don't think there's a way for us to see the bonus, but you can hover over the TC. You'll be able to see the wood reduction if we get on his perspective. There you go. So 280, 350. So it gets a nice little wood reduction there from the Song Dynasty. Keep in mind, it obviously only affects the wood component of the building, doesn't affect the stone component of the building, and it's only for those economic buildings. So things like farms, it will reduce the cost of those down to 53. Your granary, it reduces the cost down of. It's just an all-round great thing to have. But look at this. He's going absolutely hammer. Are we seeing like a 3 TC play from him here? If that's the case, I absolutely support it on this map because you've got enough food. That's the other thing. There's so much food in your base here, and when you combine the Song Dynasty with it, it just makes things even worse because it means now you've got this really easy transition over to farms. Meanwhile, we've got the 13 sheep here. He should have an Imperial official on this bad boy. He's bringing it back now by the looks of things, so he'll be okay. Second TC coming down. He's got enough in the bank for the third one. I'm loving this opening, Dennis. Absolutely chef's kiss. Mwah. I think your timing may be a little bit slow, but look, I'm not going to judge you. It's been a while since I played the Jussi Legacy, so I'll allow it for the moment. Meditation Gardens, of course, going to be affected adversely by these units. We'll switch it over to Antoxa's perspective, get a bit of an idea on how he's playing this game out, because both players are looking to invest economically. And I think the question really comes down to, who would you rather be? Would you rather be the Jussi Legacy booming with a crazy economy of villages, or would you rather be the Abbasid dynasty with their brand new trade caravans? And we can see now this one's up to 40 gold. So this would be equivalent to about half the gold that you would be getting normally running this distance with your traders. The key difference here is, I don't know why he hasn't changed them over yet to this one up here, because almost always you're going to be wanting to do that. But yeah, I'm kind of curious which one works out to be better. I would probably suspect that the trade caravans do work out to be better, because you've got to remember as well that you've got a more steady income stream with the trade caravans. You've also got additional upgrades that you can look towards. So we can look for Grand Bazaar in the Castle Age. So they get the secondary resource in the Imperial Age. We get the additional income as well. So there's a lot going for them. So I would be very much tempted to just get some Palisade walls up and really look to boom. And I think you could go quite heavily in the Feudal Age play, but the 3 TC is now up here for Dennis. Not a whole lot of military out for him at this stage of the game. We're right on board with him, and you can see it's just that scout at the moment standing strong as both players look towards potential castle ages. You can see on Antoxa's side, he's got the gold for it at the moment. Of course he's got the gold for it. He's got the trade going crazy. Meanwhile, Dennis just going to be focusing on getting those villagers out. We can see he's got them in queue. Not a whole lot of food in the bank at the moment, though, but has begun. I think he's going to be looking for that transition. The key here, at least for me, is getting these walls up and getting that nice little bit of defense in. Maybe even a nice wall towards the front, because you really want to start transitioning over to those granary and those farms ASAP, just because if you do fall off that cliff, it's going to fall very hard. What am I talking about? I'm specifically talking about how if your food stops at one point, it basically really hurts you, because you don't have the ability to train villagers anymore. You don't have the ability to gather gold or rather gather food. You need to drop down a whole bunch of farms. So you want to make that transition slower rather than just immediate. But by the same token, you still want to take advantage of the natural resources that are around without investing a ridiculous amount of resources up front in things like farms. So there's definitely a way to it to do it. So granary coming down, exactly what he needs to do. So I really like the idea of putting the granary on top of the deer as well, just because the granary is so much bigger. So there's a lot more surface area. You can really push the deer towards it. You can also put the farms down as you're transitioning through. And we do see now the military wing is coming online. Meditation Gardens may potentially go down here. You can see a lot of units continuing to siege. No vills being brought out to repair, at least not at the moment, and almost certainly Antoxa will be taking down Dennis's first landmark today. And indeed it goes down just a little bit too late here, unfortunately, for Dennis. So Vils will have to come out. He's going to have to repair the whole thing to get it back online. But behind this, we do have that military wing coming up shortly. So it will mean that there will be the 2 camel riders that will be coming out. He'll also unlock access to composite bows as well as boot camp. So some nice little upgrades on the way for him as well. Now keep in mind, he's going to have a lot of gold that'll be streaming in 10 minutes into the game. We can see at the moment he's sitting at 500 gold a minute. He's also gone for the 3 separate markets over here on the west corner of the map. So definitely a potential choking point if Dennis is thinking about it. I wonder how much Dennis knows. Well, he definitely has confirmed right now exactly what he knows, because he will see that there is a military wing and the trade wing here, and it kind of looks like the military wing, you can't really tell that it's being built here. It kind of looks like it's just been completed at this stage. It just looks like he's got 2 wings sitting there, but it's not the case. You'll see that it slowly gets built more and more over time. But now back towards that front, we see the villager coming up. I was having like a little shower thought just then. I was thinking to myself, it'd be kind of cool, like in Civilization 6, I don't know if you guys have played Civ 6, but like when you build a wonder, it like will build like tile by tile or like brick by brick. It obviously takes a huge amount of graphic teams to do that. But that'd be kind of cool to have for something like this. But obviously, not going to happen. Anyway, military wing now going to be completed. Camels towards that backside as the castle age is online. You can see they do get peppered down by the Jukunu. Jukunu just being frustratingly annoying towards that front. And the spam is really starting to come out here behind this. So Dennis definitely doing the right thing at this stage and looking to double down on that military. And often one of the things that you get confused about when you're playing as the Juicy Legacy is what direction you should take. I've gone for these 3 TCs. Do I look for a castle age? Do I look to double down on units? And normally I find this is the best thing to do. One of the things I loved doing was going absolutely ham, exactly the same way that Dennis has opened up here. Normally up to about 70 or 80 Jukunu, and then skipping castle completely and just going straight to Imperial. I mean, technically you gotta spend a little bit of time in castle to get to Imperial, but the idea is very simple. You just want to go 1, 2, leap in a single, essentially like at once, and then get all of your upgrades through. So I really found quite a lot of success with that. Wall coming towards the front of the base. We'll check in with Antoxa and see how he's doing as that trade continues to build. Still got all 3 of these markets working. Well, 2 of these markets working. At the moment, up to 23 active traders. And we now see he's got Grand Bazaar on the way through. So a nice little upgrade here for him. This will be bringing in those extra resources. Cavalry also coming towards the front. Knights, or rather lancers, are out. They're going to transition villagers out of the base as well. We'll check in with Dennis and see how he's doing. Not particularly menacing this game, we'll say that much. How's the transition of farms going? Transition of farms is going quite well. I don't know how you're going to fit all these granaries in here, especially if you're going this deep. Oh, is he looking to do the supervise trick? So there's a trick that you can do. So I remember a long time ago, I was running some numbers on what the most effective way to build your base as the Chinese or the Juicy Legacy was. And one of the ways that we did come up with was if you just had a granary with 2 rows of farms around it and then a single Imperial official supervising it. That's actually quite an efficient way to do it, because the Imperial official is able to offset the distance that these guys do travel. In the end, I don't think we really use that a lot, because there's other configurations that you can do. But of course, that's going to be on the condition that you've got plenty of space back here. And you can see he's kind of hurt himself a little bit by putting the Jiangnan Tower back here. This is perfect space for farms in the back of the base. And it's a little bit painful here as like a professional SimCity player to see that and go, oh, so much farmland back there that just got ruined by an ugly Jiangnan Tower. Anyway, we've got the mosque that's now online for Antoxa. Relics are starting to come through. Looks like we could be thinking about going towards the castle age here for Dennis. The farm economy is definitely looking quite healthy. You can see he's got still plenty of deer in the base. He's deleted the mill here, so no more sheep. Berries towards the top side of the base still exist here as well, so he's got plenty of food if he needs to move into it. He's also got the berries towards the front, berries towards the south, so plenty of safe food that's still around the main base. But the key thing here is that he has indeed transitioned over to farms. He's got a healthy economy that's going here, so this is looking really good for him in the mid-game. So, age up about to come through. Probably not. I think you go into the Montlou Academy here. I don't think you go into, yeah, Montlou Academy. I know you're going to say it's not Montlou, it's Mount Lou. It's Montlou. It's always been Montlou. Oh, it's the Montlou Academy. Oh, yeah. So, Montlou Academy going to be coming up, giving him a couple of different tech options here. He's kind of aging up quickly with it as well. So, there's a part of me that thinks maybe he won't go straight to Imp. But like you can see like it really starts to align. If you only like go up with 5 or 6 vills, you can just immediately drop down your Imperial age up straight away as well, and that really takes your opponent by surprise because you got to typically remember, right? Like your enemy's not going to be thinking that you're about to hit Imperial if you're still in the feudal age, right? But the moment you hit the castle age, you're like, he could be Imperial soon. Not really. I mean, if your opponent just hits the castle age, you're probably not thinking they're going to go imp. But definitely one of those ways that you can take the enemy by surprise. 15 minutes into the game now. He's still got quite a lead. I would be very cautious about moving out. You can see the veterancy's already come through. He's looking to pick up the bolt magazines as well. Has he got +2 in? He's already got +2. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to play the Juicy Legacy. I want to compliment you right now, Dennis Kjart. You are doing absolute work on this. I'm looking for your blacksmith. Oh, it's right there next to your TC, yeah. So he's supervised it out the wazoo. So absolutely knows exactly what is up and how to play. Oh my god, there was a part of me that kind of jumped out of my seat right there. I saw the 1900 food in the bank. I said, oh my lord, is he doing it? Now, I will say right now, I do feel like this is a mistake. This is the wrong move at this stage of the game because you got to remember he was 3 TC. I mean, he's up against trade though. I guess that's the other factor to consider. So maybe it's not the wrong move. Maybe this is the right move, but I feel like you're about to get flanked and maybe you don't know it yet. I mean, we know it because there's all this cav down here, right? And it just, all you need is like 8 Lancers. 8 Lancers will be easily able to deal with this. But does Dennis not know? Dennis doesn't know that his enemy, Intoxa, is building Lancers every Sunday. What do we got coming up now? Camel handling coming through as well. So, yeah. Battering Ram's going to look to push forward here, but I suspect this is going to be... I mean, it's a nice little choke that he's got here. I will say that. So, if he wants to try and kite, he will be able to do that quite well. And will be able to, like, really position quite annoyingly. And this is something that needs to be addressed. This is a lot of battering rams. So Dennis is doing a great job. The only critique I've got of Dennis is I feel like he just should have done this, but done it in Imperial Age. Like, basically, I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of gold left here, right? 470 gold in the bank. So he'd have to go out onto the map and secure gold, which already complicates things a little bit more. Double Mango looking to tee off. Able to find good connections here as well. He flattens the front part of that army. Let's see if he's able to get it again. He's hitting the battering ram. Never want to hit the battering rams. Always want to prioritize the Jukunu. And now look at the Jukunu moving up. Where's that Cav? Cav's a little bit late to the party here. Not able to really convert. Now Dennis is going to try and kite his way across. More upgrades on the way through. But the ranged armor isn't going to be particularly helpful in this game with all of the cavalry that is just, yeah, it's just doing it. And that's the one thing to remember, right? And see, the Temple of the Sun's coming down. See, everything went perfectly, except for that. He's got his order of operations wrong. He forgot to put the brackets in. You should have put the Temple of the Sun in the brackets before you did the Jukunu counter-strike. It was so close. So the reason why that is, okay, just to explain. The Lancer's got 6 armor, okay? And if we look at the Jukunu, well, you can't see it right now, but I can tell you it's got 7 damage in the Castle Age, okay? So you're only doing 1 damage. When you reach Imperial Age, the number of upgrades that you get significantly outweigh the number of upgrades the enemy gets for their armor, which means that instead of you only doing 1 damage per bolt with your Jukunu, you're effectively doing about 5 damage per bolt with your Jukunu, which means that you're 5xing the amount of damage you're putting out in that matchup. Now, of course, that's even more lopsided if, say, for example, your enemy can't speed up their age up and has to go through the culture wing and has to do it very slowly. And if you force a fight with a whole bunch of battering rams at the front of their base, there's really not much that they can do about it. You get where I'm coming from, though. But I would say, Dennis, I don't know if you're watching this, mate, but this strategy is pretty much close to perfect. The only thing you had to do was just hit Imperial first. The keep is a lovely touch as well in the middle. Culture Wing now going to be coming out as well for Intoxa. Let's ride on board with him and see how he's doing, because the trade number has continued to build up to 52. Has not yet looked to isolate this trading post either, just kind of matching the opponent. We can see 126 versus 112 villagers. Just a little bit of a stock take on these resource numbers. We've got 3k, 3.5, 3.8k on the side of Intoxa. On the side of his opponent, looking at a pretty similar number right there, maybe a little bit higher, somewhere in the 4k region, maybe 4.5k for Dennis. So slight advantage here, relic advantage, 3-2 in favor of Dennis Kjart as well. And the new age has begun. upgrades straight away coming through. Elite Lancers. Now, we've seen +3 on the way. I think we also saw Elite Jukunu coming through. Yes, indeed we did. Elite Jukunu are now coming through. Another keep coming down in the middle, so he's looking to further push this out. So one of the key things to note here at this stage is Dennis needs to get all of his upgrades, and there are so many to get. That's the other problem that you've got. You've got so many upgrades to get. So, of course, we've got the Temple of the Sun right here, but we've still got other landmarks that we need to build. And because of that, it means further resources that need to be invested because we want to get all the upgrades. So we could get the additional bolt. We've got +3 on the way. We want to get our university and look at getting incendiary arrows through as well. Still yet to be picked up here. Quite an expensive one as well, 1,500 resources. But these are all little things that add additional damage. So you can see at the moment 6 + 2. Shortly about to be 6 + 3. So that already puts him up to 9 damage. And if we compare that over to the Lancer, which has just been upgraded, they've only got the 7 armor. It's about to be 8. Well, it's not about to be 8. Once he decides to get that upgraded, it'll become 8. But then from there, you'll start to see those extra breakpoints of damage really start to get out of control. Now, keep in mind, we also have the bolt magazines. So that allows that extra 0.5 of range with an extra 1 damage against light melee infantry. So it's a small little buff, but it definitely does make a difference. The key there is the armor. Or sorry, the range, rather. Second TC added towards the north here. Not necessarily needed, I will say right now, because it's very much if you lose the trade, you lose the game here. So I think from the perspective of Antoxa that, like, you're absolutely fine just continuing this. The one thing to note is he's just got a lot of gold, right? Like, he's got a huge amount of gold. He's obviously got a secondary resource that he's pulling in, but the gold is doing quite a bit of heavy lifting. So he needs to be playing into that. You need to be thinking to yourself, okay, what units can I make that are going to take a lot of gold? So Lancer is a big one that jumps out because it has a very high gold cost ratio. Mangonel is also quite decent. Even then, like, you're still spending a lot of wood. And then we've got other things that are a little bit more advanced that you can go into, but ideally you're looking for units. Even things like men-at-arms just aren't going to be worth it because you need so much more food than you do gold. So the real difference here is just finding those units that are going to be more gold heavy that you can look to rely on. So the hand cannoneer is a great example of a unit as well that is quite gold heavy that you can look to move into. Doesn't really need a lot of upgrades to function. But now these Jukunu are going to start coming in, and here you can see we've got the problem. Incendiary arrows has definitely arrived. I don't know exactly if we can see. Let's check back in on the other side. Yeah, it's definitely in. So now he's up to 11 damage. So 11 damage up against that 8 armor. So he's got 3 damage here, and now he's able to shred through those lances. You can see the damage that's being done on that front line. He's going to be able to combine a little bit of kiting with it as well. And despite this being an unfavorable matchup from Dennis, in the sense that he's got ranged units up against melee cavalry, he's still able to force his opponent back. Mango's going to come forward. Hopefully he looks to pick up some Mangonel upgrades. We do indeed see the adjustable crossbars on the way through, and that should be what he needs to actually distinct or provide that difference. But he's just going to commit. Look at this, 100% Jukunu. And I love this. I love this. If your micro is good enough, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. You can see he's trying to focus down the back. If you're focusing down these back Mangonels, though, it's going to allow your opponent to get in on top of you. And that's exactly what's happened here. Dennis kind of throwing this away. Juicy's library now going to be coming through. And this is where the last upgrades are held. And you can see he's really committing to the bit now. Only going for Jukunu. I tell you what, Dennis Carr, I don't know if you're a fan, mate, but I think you may be, because you are absolutely committing the most vile Juicy strategies, and I'm all for it. Juicy library is now coming up. Let's check in and see if we can find over towards the east side. So let's have a look and see if he goes for the 10,000 bolts, the fabled upgrade. There it is, the 10,000 bolts now coming through, and this is the final form of the Juicy legacy. So let's just go over everything that we've seen. We've got the +3 ranged attack. We've got the elite status on our Jukunu. We've got the incendiary arrow. Oh, that's the Zhangnan Tower. We've got the incendiary arrows that's come through. We've also got the bolt magazines. We've got the Ming Dynasty damage that's coming in. We've got the extra movement speed. This unit is completely, fully upgraded. There's so much shit that is coming in here. There's the 10,000 bolts that's now arrived. It is ridiculous. Okay, so he's now sitting at, just to math this out, okay, 13 damage with each bolt that he's got. And keep in mind, he's got 4 bolts. So 13 times 4. Now, keep in mind, the armor on the enemy unit is 8. So now he's doing 5 damage with every bolt. But there's 4 bolts, so he's doing 20 damage. And keep in mind, in the Castle Age, he was only doing 1 damage because of the 7 versus 6 armor. So this is the key to this unit, and I'm so glad that he's found it. Now, onto the trade post. You can take the front out, that's fine. Dennis Kjær does not mind. And the reason why is because very easily he can move. He's malleable, whereas you're not so malleable. When this trade gets shut down, there's only one other place that you can go, and he knows exactly where that is. Now Lance is looking to move up towards the north. I think here the key is... Oh, I don't know how this is going to go. Because for Dennis, yeah, like Dennis can just delete villages at this point. He's got enough resources in the bank. You can probably delete 20, 30 villages here and be quite happy. Watch how quickly these burn. Look how quickly these burn down. He's just eating through them one by one. They just go down. It's not even close. Yeah, he's probably taken out as many Zhukunu as his opponent has taken out cavalry right here. They are eating them alive. And now you can see why I'm such a fan of this unit. This unit is completely unfair when you know how to upgrade it. And that, like, it seems weird, but you got to remember the amount of games that I've casted where like Puppy Paw has been Imperial Age and has not got his Delhi upgrades for free. Right? People do forget their upgrades. It's not a dig at Puppy Paw, it's just using him as an example that, like, it's a normal thing. People do forget their upgrades, but definitely today you can see Dennis Kjær did not forget his upgrades. He has eaten upgrades for breakfast today. Little keep in the north of the map here. Not really going to be helpful. Going to get cancelled out. There is more walls towards that east side. And now towards the front, we do start to have more Zhukunu making their way in. So how do you deal with this? So that's a good question, right? Like, what's the best way to deal with this? So I would say mangonels are very important to deal with this. Also having just like a line of blocker units that prevent the mangonels from being killed by the Zhukunu. So men-at-arms. And to be honest, like armored units don't really do anything, right? Like if we think about the armored units as typically what you want against Zhukunu, it's not the case here because you've got that 13 base damage. So they crush through the units because 13 base damage minus the 8 armor, you're talking 5 damage, 4 shots, that's 20 damage every single one of them is doing per cycle. So you're literally killing like 3-4 men-at-arms every single cycle of the bow. So I think it's got to be mangonels and then like horsemen maybe is the answer to this with like a whole bunch of men-at-arms as well. But just like mixed in. I think that's probably the best way to do it. He's also starting to mix in the Culverin as well. I'm a big fan of this. The Culverin mass is always lovely to see. Trade has been opened back up. How much is the trade at the moment? He's on 73 traders. You can see he's got a few traders. He's tried his best to get through to the backside, but unfortunately, Dennis Kjær said, not today, my friend. There is no trade happening here. And all of the trade caravans. Oh, this unit is, well... I mean, we could talk about that unit, but it's not really the star of the show here today. The star of the show is definitely the Zhukunu, and this timing is absolutely on point for him. Now, have a look at that military difference. I don't think there's any way Intoxa is coming back from this. I suspect it may be GG, and indeed GG it is, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. Dennis Kjær taking the victory with 10,000 bolts of the Zhukunu Juicy Legacy Zhukunu. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Go check out Dennis Kjær. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can check him out live, and of course, we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.